everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be testing out loads of new Colourpop makeup. So I very recently purchased one of their mystery boxes, did a bit of a haul and unboxed it all, so I will link that video in the description if you're interested in checking that out. So I haven't quite got a full face, so I'm going to go ahead and get my base makeup done off camera, and then I'll be back to test out my first product, which is this face and cheek palette. Well, I've got all of my base makeup done and I'm ready to go in with my blush and highlight. So I've got this cheek palette from Colourpop. This is the Tea Cakes palette and it comes with 3 blushes and a highlighter in this little plastic packet. That's what all of the shades look like. I did have another one of these palettes, the Extra Glaze palette, but it's pretty much all finished now, so I thought I would get a new one. I will say first impressions, the blush shades are definitely a bit darker in this one than the other palette, and the highlighter as well is more of like a champagne gold as opposed to like a pinky tone that I had in my last palette, so definitely intrigued to see how this is going to look on my actual face. And then another new product I've got to try is this Colourpop flat kabuki brush to actually apply the blush. I think I only have one other Colourpop brush, which is a brush I use for my highlighter. So yeah, interested to see how I go with this one. The bristles are very, very soft, which is an excellent first impression. And I think their brushes do just look really quite nice and sleek. But the main thing I'm here for is to try out this blush. I've decided to go for this blush here, which is shade Snickerdoodle. They've all got quite good names. So the highlighter is called Most Necessary, this blush is Pralines, and this blush is Yummy Bite. But I thought I'd go with this more pinker tone because it's the sort of blush shade that I would normally gravitate towards. So I've got my brush. Doesn't seem to be going onto the brush as well as my normal brush. Normally I would use this real big fluffy brush where I'd normally get quite a lot of product picked up, but yeah, not a lot going on here. Let me pop this on my face. I don't know if maybe the bristles are a bit too like densely packed together and quite firm, although the bristles are soft, but they're obviously quite a lot. It's made the brush itself quite firm, so I feel like I've just got too much blush on here now. I do like the shade of it though, it is a nice pink. I just think this brush isn't really the best, so I'm gonna try and blend it out with this one here. So I've got that blended out a bit more, and I do really like the pink tone of this blush shade. I think it is really, really pretty, but I think I will definitely stick to using this big fluffy brush, and perhaps this brush I will just now wash and maybe try and use for something else. Just get my other cheek done, and then I'm really interested to try out this highlighter. Well, there's the blush all nicely blended out, and yeah, I really like the shade. I really like how it applied. I think it's definitely going to be very buildable, so if you wanted to go for a real kind of bright pink blush moment, then you definitely could. But next things up, I'm going to go in with my highlighter, and I'm going to use obviously the only highlighter in this palette, which was shade Most Necessary. As I said, I would normally use more of like a pinky undertoned highlighter. This one's, I don't know, a bit golder, but it does look very, very pretty. And I'm going to use this brush here, which is also from Colourpop, which I always use for my highlighter. It's gone onto the brush very nicely, and I'll just pop a little bit on my cheek. I have to say it goes really nicely with the blush. I think the kind of pink, maybe it is more of a pinker highlighter on my skin than it necessarily looks in the palette, but I definitely think it complements the blush shade really nicely, and I do really, really like it actually. I think it's a really nice summery looking highlight shade, so a little bit on the end of my nose. And it's just added to that really nice rosy glow. So really, really impressed with the highlighter shade, and definitely impressed with the cheek palette. So next things onto the eyes, and I've got quite a few eye products to try out actually. I've got an eyeshadow palette, a Super Shock shadow, an eyeliner and a mascara, so basically everything I need for an eye look. So the eyeshadow palette I've got to try out is the On the Mango eyeshadow palette. It's this really cute little quad, again in the same plastic packaging as the cheek palette, and I like that it's got this little cardboard mango here, and I think the shades do look quite pretty from first impressions. I do think though they are quite similar looking to the Orange You Glad palette, but maybe I'd have to get them side by side to compare for definite. So this shade here is Mango Tango. There is then Sweet Nectar, Orchid and Chutney, which, yeah, I think again very summery looking. And then the single Super Shock shadow I've got is this one here, which I feel like is a bit different, but I definitely wanted to try it out with this look and try it out. I've only ever tried out one other Super Shock shadow that's like a single one, that was a gold. This one is shade Tassel and it looks like this, and apparently is a Super Shock shadow ultra glitter, so I thought it would be a really, hopefully a really pretty topper obviously on top of these shades. So first up I'm going to go in with shade Orchid, which is a very bright kind of tangerine orange shade. Definitely, I think, well, aside from the sparkly one here, the most eye-catching and vibrant shade out of the whole palette. I'm just going to get this down as a base. It's going onto the brush really nicely. I do have to say I really do like the formula of the Colourpop eyeshadows. I find their mattes are usually very pigmented, very vibrant, and kind of last the whole day. So hopefully this one will be no exception. I think I could have done with perhaps laying an white eye base down for added vibrancy, but there we go. I just go for a neutral one. The shade itself, I'm having to get quite a bit on the brush actually to get a real good coverage, but it is a really lovely bright orange. I definitely will give it that, and do really like the actual colour of the shade. So there's that down on both eyes. There was quite a bit of fallout that in the palette that's sort of collected around the edge of the shades and kind of merged its way into this one, but nothing too terrible, and there was like little to no fallout on my actual eye, which I suppose is what counts. So next up I think I'm going to use this shade here. This looks like quite a nice, it's almost a more of a peachy orange than necessarily like a mango shade, and this one is shade Sweet Nectar. So that's going to go on the outer corner of my eye. Again, quite a bit of loose powder in the palette once I've dipped my brush in, but no doubt I will kind of manage to sweep that up with the brush. I think in the eye it looks slightly less of a peachy shade and has definitely got more of that orange tone to it, which I like. It's blending really nicely with the other shade. I mean, you kind of expect them to because they are both orange, nothing particularly groundbreaking, but it's a nice shade and definitely applying very nicely. Still think it's very similar to Orange You Glad, which I do already own, so maybe if you already had this palette or already had that palette you wouldn't necessarily bother purchasing both, but I got this in my mystery box. I think the shades so far are looking really lovely together, but I feel like I'm getting more kind of sunset than I necessarily am mango. I thought I would use this darker shade just in the crease of the outer corner of my eye, just to hopefully add a bit more depth and dimension. So this one was shade Chutney, and it does look quite brown in the palette, so I'll be interested to see how this is going to look on my eye. I've just gone for quite a small brush this time just to get a bit more precision into the crease. Again, a lot of loose powder. I think it's very slightly showing up. Maybe that previous orange shade is kind of overpowering a bit, but it's adding a little bit of depth, and I'd quite like to see actually how this shade looked on its own, so maybe next time I can give that a go. I've done the under eye as well. I just used the same first two shades just in the same order, so that first shade on the inner corner and the second shade on the outer corner, and definitely think these orange shades are looking very vibrant, very summery, very tropically. I don't think I'm going to use the shimmer in this because I think I want to definitely use this one. So I thought I'd just do a little swatch of shade Mango Tango just so you can see what it looks like, and obviously I can see what it looks like as well. So it looks like that just on the end of my finger and then swatched. Okay, that's really gorgeous. Very nice and soft and buttery, and I'd say not quite as vibrant as I was expecting. I think it's quite a nice subtle orange shimmer, which I think is actually quite a good thing because the rest of the shades are very, very vibrant. So yeah, next time I create a look, I think I'm going to use more of shade Chutney and definitely use shade Mango Tango. But now on to trying out the Super Shock shadow. This was the shade Tassel and is this very kind of icy white glitter. So I always use these sorts of shades just with my finger. I find the kind of particles can get very lost in a brush and you can't get the full like effect of the shimmer. So this feels so gorgeously soft. Looks absolutely amazing there on the end of my finger, and I'm just going to swipe this across the middle of my eyelid. Okay, wow. So even that bright orange is really, really vibrantly showing up. I think that's absolutely gorgeous and definitely my favorite shade out of all of the shades I have tried today. So there is that Super Shock shadow on both eyes, and I think it just stands out so much. It is such a buttery, soft and vibrant shimmer, and I just think has made the whole eye look pop. So the next thing for me to try again is something that I've never ever tried from Colourpop. It is their colour sticks. So this one here is in the shade Coffee Shop, this really nice deep brown, and you can actually use these either as a liner for your lid, or you can actually use it as a liner in your waterline. So that's what I'm going to use it for today. Oh, and you can also just apply it to your whole lid and smudge it out and use it as a bit of an eyeshadow. So definitely very multi-purpose. Just looks like this, and it has actually got a sharpener in the bottom of it as well, so very, very handy. There is this nice kind of deep coffee brown shade. I thought it would look quite nice with the orange kind of tones, and I think actually if I'd gone in with a bit more shade Chutney, they probably would have complemented each other even more so. Okay, so it's applying to my waterline really, really easily, and I don't know if it's just me, but it's almost got a bit more of an orangey looking tone in my waterline, which I actually like because I think it's going with the eyeshadow shades a lot better. I think that definitely looks really cool. I've never tried an eyeliner in my waterline of this shade. I only ever really use black or nude or sometimes white, so this is definitely something a bit new for me. But I really do think it complements those eyeshadow shades, so definitely a win, and I'm definitely going to use this in my next kind of orange or maybe like brown toned eyeshadow look. Well, that's nearly the eyes completed. I obviously just need to pop on some mascara. So I have got the Level Up Lengthening Mascara. This is a black mascara. I have tried out the Act Natural mascara from Colourpop, both the black one and the brown one, and I literally love them both. The black one is almost finished. So when I received this in my mystery box, I was actually really happy, really excited to try out a new mascara from Colourpop. So it comes in this quite sleek looking packaging. I like that it's just, yeah, it's quite simple, but I think quite eye-catching at the same time. It has got a really long like bristly one, which I'm kind of a bit concerned about because I feel like this is bigger than the kind of length of my entire eye, so I'm hoping I'm still gonna be able to get into those really small lashes on the inner corner of my eye. Looking at the brush, actually there's probably quite a good amount of product that's gone on here, not too much but not too little, so let's give it a go. Well, the brush is definitely coating my lashes quite evenly, I would say. I don't think it's necessarily giving me a lot more length. I do normally like to go for volume rather than length. It's not clumping up though, which is always a good sign. I just don't think it's giving Like, I'm not looking at this thinking like, wow, my eyelashes look so long. Well, there is one eye done with the mascara, and obviously you can tell I've got mascara and my lashes do look longer, but I wouldn't say they look any longer than using any other mascara. And in fact, I think I prefer the Act Natural mascara because it lengthens and also gives volumes. I think my lashes look a bit, I don't know, a bit spidery with this mascara, but I'll go ahead and get the other eye done, and then I've got a couple of lip products to try out as well. And that is the eye look all done. So I think looking very nice, still kind of mesmerised by that Super Shock shadow. So the couple of lip products I've got to try. First things first is something, again, that I've never tried from Colourpop. It's actually one of their lip scrubs. So this is the By the Bushel Lippy Scrub, and this is strawberry fragranced. I thought I would just use this as a kind of primer to using another product. I've got this Luxe lip oil. This is in the shade Rebel Rebel and was from their Zodiac collection. Quite like the packaging of that. But first things first, I'm going to try out the Lippy Scrub. I love the packaging, very colourful, very fun. And then probably completely different is the actual Lippy Scrub itself is in quite a plain looking pot, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. They could have at least put like some little strawberries on the top of it, and has a really gorgeous strawberry fragrance. It reminds me of a strawberry chapstick. It's that kind of fragrance, and it's kind of that sort of consistency as well. It doesn't feel scrubby, it feels balmy. So it is very soft. I feel like my lips feel like instantly hydrated. I think you could just use this on its own. I don't think you'd even need to use it before other lip products. You could just take it out and use it as a lip balm, which is essentially what it is. I don't feel any scrub in it whatsoever. It just, yeah, feels totally like a balm, but it has made my lips actually feel super soft, which is definitely a huge positive. And it's quite a nice cute little pot, so very convenient to just take out and about with you. And then this is the last product I've got to try, is the Luxe lip oil. I have tried out one lip oil from Colourpop before and I absolutely loved it. It was like quite a neutral shade. Again, made my lips feel very hydrated and very soft, so high hopes for this. This one is a slightly different shade if I recall, and I think it had a little bit of sparkle in it as well, so yeah, intrigued to see how this is going to look. So there is the actual product itself. I like the packaging. I don't know if you can see a little bit of the shimmer in the lip oil there. Okay, so I think it's got a slightly different like applicator brush to my other one. My other one is like much more of a flat brush and a bit bendy. This one seems a bit more solid. There is a real good amount of product on here, I would say. And it's a really nice, just neutral shade. So I think perfect really to go with a lot of different looks. You're not taking away from your eye look. You've got a nice subtle lip that also feels really hydrated at the same time. So very impressed with that. Definitely that's going to become a new firm favourite. So that's all of the new Colourpop products I had to try out. There is a bit of a closer look at the eyeshadow, which I think has definitely been like the standout product of everything I've tried out today. Definitely that Super Shock has super shocked me, which sounds really cringe, but I think it's an absolutely gorgeous shade, and I'm definitely going to be using this as a topper for loads of different eyeshadow looks. The other thing I really liked as well was the lip oil. I think that it was a really nice shade, a little bit of shimmer, and just something nice and neutral with obviously what's quite a bold eye. Otherwise, the thing I was probably most disappointed about though was the brush. I think that's probably just how I was using it. And also the mascara. I will of course keep using it, but I think I was just comparing it too much to the Act Natural mascara, which I absolutely love. And I would say if you're looking for a lengthening mascara, I don't think this is necessarily going to give you as much length as maybe you're hoping for, but nonetheless it's a good mascara. The formula feels quite nice and it's not too clumpy or flaky or anything like that. So definitely let me know if you've tried out any of these products or what your favourite go-to Colourpop products are. I would definitely love to know. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give the video a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again in my next video.